So you join me down at Johnson's Lake in Godalming. I'm out with the team for a little bit of a winter social. It's not often we get out as a group, but we're going to have a little bit of a catch up, myself included, what we've sort of done through the year, our style of angling, what we've got planned over the next year, and just have a real good sort of relaxed catch up really. Got most of the guys that are here, going to have a little bit of banter, a mince pie or two, maybe even a Baileys, and just see how the session unfolds, you know. We're all living in different parts of the country, but it's relatively close for the majority of us, and an excuse for a get together and a bit of a giggle.
These southern club waters, they know how to look after the fisheries. I'm from the Midlands myself, but I could wear my slippers around here, and it's been raining for the last 2 weeks. Just want to go through a few things from my angling this year and potentially what's going to happen next year. It's been a bit of an up and down year regarding sort of my personal angling. Work's sort of got in the way a little bit. We're currently very busy at work commissioning the biggest brick factory in Europe, so work's always first for me, angling second. But spent a little bit of time on Shenton, sort of during July and August. I settled on Clover, the little lake, in between Jigsaw and the main lake. Managed to catch some really nice fish out of there, fish up to sort of low 30s. But yeah, absolutely really enjoyed it. And sort of second part of the sort of late summer, early autumn, ended up fishing on a water quite close to me, a bit of an under the radar syndicate pit, 15 minutes from my front doorstep, 15-acre pit, very low stock, 20 fish, maybe 25 max. Fishing them sort of pits, for me, you've got to be down there watching, baiting, so it all made sort of sense, with work being busy as well, to sort of stay close to home. I managed to catch the second biggest resident in the lake, as was my first bite, but it wasn't just turn up and catch it. There was a lot of background work went into that regarding finding the fish, feeding the fish, sort of turning up, and the angling was the easy bit really. It was a lot of the work was sort of the baiting up, which you normally find is the way on low stock waters. Feed them as much as you can, and the rod hours don't seem to be as important, but the feeding hours do. So I may this winter sort of drop back on Shenton onto the little pit. I've got a few friends that I want to take down there, have a bit of a social, nothing too serious, hopefully catch a few. But yeah, next year it's all up in the air. There's 2 or 3 really good tickets pending for me, but I fished Bundy's pit a few years ago and I've done very well on there. Caught quite a few fish, but there was 3 fish in there I wanted to catch in particular, and I did avoid them. I might attempt to try and get back on there. Very old commons. There's 2 fish in there that are over 45 that I still haven't caught. So maybe I might make a return and see if I can catch at least one of them.
So I'm back down on Johnson's for a Speero social. You'll have to excuse some of the background noise because there's a ride-on lawnmower going off, there's trains, there's planes, and it's all happening on here today. So yeah, just excuse the background noise. But yeah, I just wanted to take some time out of today to kind of talk to you a bit of a roundup really on what's been going on with my angling this year. So I had a really successful year considering I've not had a ticket for anywhere this year. I've kind of been going from day ticket lakes up and down the country, but yeah, it's been really successful. In terms of highlights this year, it's got to be back in March when myself and the Welsh ladies Carp team won the home Tri-Nations competition against England and Scotland. And just to say the least, I can't even put it into words to be honest, but that is definitely the highlight of this year. Looking to next year and what I've got in store for my angling, I've got a really good ticket lined up for January. which is, yeah, I'm really excited about that. So it's a nice club up in Cheshire, there's a couple of Cheshire 30s in there, so that'll do me nicely, quite close to work as well, so I'll be able to do nights in between work. Next year, what I've got lined up for the Welsh Ladies Carp team, hopefully we should be going to the World Championships, which is in Latvia next year. As long as we can get the funding together, then yeah, we're definitely going to be there. We've also got a couple of friendlies lined up as well, one against Scotland, so yeah, it should be really exciting.
Right, so for this year, my angling's kind of taken a bit of a back seat. It's my first year of going freelance since leaving the angling industry as such. I've been waiting for quite a while to get a ticket on a specific water, and luckily through a few contacts, I managed to get on there this year. Now, I'm not going to name the venue. Those that follow me on Instagram or sort of my journey will know where it is, but just out of respect to the other anglers, I'm not going to mention it. It's not a particularly hard water, but it is one of those where you need to stay in tune with it, make sure you're pre-baiting, looking for fish. Obviously, watercraft is the biggest edge in your angling, full stop in my eyes. And I think on this venue in particular, you've got to stay where the fish are and preempt their movements as well. So with my angling, I've managed to get a little bit of time on there, but not a great deal. So I've had to really capitalise on those short windows of opportunity. And yeah, it's kind of got off to a great start. I've managed a few fish, a couple of nice commons, and I haven't managed to get any of the mirrors as of yet, but it's sort of still learning the water and sort of what sort of bait they like, the holding areas for them, and just getting on them really. That's the hardest thing with any kind of approach to angling, is getting on the fish, competing with them as well as angling pressure is always a tall order. But yeah, my angling at the minute is, I'm going to pull off there for the winter. It kind of shuts up shop till spring, so it'll be the kind of odd session here and there in between filming and just getting out with guys. Bit more of a social, similar to like where we are today. Bit of a catch up with everyone, a few beers, a mince pie or two. Everyone that knows me knows I love a mince pie. And yeah, next year I'll be straight back onto my syndicate. And maybe a trip abroad. It's something I wanted to do for a little while now, either Belgium or Germany, and I'll try and get things in place, see if I can do that, probably towards October sort of time. But for now, it'll be concentrating on editing over the next couple of months, bit of time with the family and just enjoying the festivities.
As you can tell, I'm not on the bank today for work commitments. This time of year, being a butcher, I'm super busy. Plan for me is Thursday after work, take a nice barbecue pack down, have a couple of beers, meet the team, see how everyone's got on. Haven't really spoke to many of them for a long time, so it'd be good to have a little catch up. So as most of the team are sort of all up and down the country, we don't get to meet each other that often, so obviously seeing people on social media, it's just lovely to meet them in the flesh. So yeah, a lot of my angling is quite short sessions. I am quite lucky I do get to sort of have Sunday, Mondays off, but obviously having a young family and a busy work life, obviously up early, finish quite late. So a lot of it is revolved around sort of turning up at the lake on late mornings, doing a couple of laps of the lake, getting a bit more of a knowledge of where fish have come out and fishing effectively for the next 24 hours. Fish one of my local waters, head down to the lake after work, fish through the night and get up at the crack of dawn and head straight back into work. So yeah, breaking my PB this year was obviously the highlight of my year. Managed to get down onto one of the Yateley waters, had a good couple of laps of the lake. It was quite busy, so I was looking for spots that had a little bit of low pressure. Found this corner that had signs of showing fish, low pressure as well, So decided to sort of cast to show and fish. A few pouchfuls of boilies, and literally within half an hour, 40 minutes, had a run. Was quite lucky, landed both fish. First one being a 23 pound 8 ounce mirror, and then the new PB of 33 pound 2. So I was over the moon.
We're here to talk a little bit about the last few weeks angling and a bit of a catch up really. Managed to finally catch one of my main target fish, a fish called No Name, that come out at 43.14 to me. A lot of my fishing I do now has been sort of range fishing, over 100 yards. Not stupid ranges, but that's what most of it is now, and a lot of particle fishing. I started fishing back on one of my main waters over at Frencham, only doing overnighters, so it ain't easy fishing. But I had a couple of fish, or I had a fish, and then I went back for another night, and I finally had the one I wanted. Well, I fished it 3 years, on and off, but I hadn't been there for 8 months or so. After a fair few blanks elsewhere, I got my ticket back and thought I'm just going to go and do it to stop thinking about it. I bought a load of pellet recently, and I've always got particles sitting at home, so I've knocked up a bit of bait. I had some 8mm pellet, a few handfuls of maples, a handful of tigers, and just a handful of boilie. So it's more bits fishing rather than boilie fishing. And I only dropped, 2 or 3 handfuls tight over the spot. And it's one of them waters, it's rammed full of tench, and I was thinking no one's going to come down here and fish pellet, especially if they're carp fishing. You might get the tench boys doing it, but I was quite surprised I didn't have any tench doing that. I went and fished down one end where I can walk my rods out rather than cast them and spook them before I've even started. I've done that for one night, and I had a nice 20 pound scaly one. Went back a few days later and went straight back in the same zone, walked my rods out. I walked one down the margin and one sort of straight out. It didn't take long, it was only out for 20 minutes and I had a bite, and I've lifted into it and sort of, as you do snag fishing, gave it a bit of stick, and it just comes straight away from the rushes that I was fishing up against, and I thought, I think this is the one. It's got to be the one. I haven't had anything out of here before that's felt like that, and it is the only one that's that sort of size. And it's come round in front of me, and I still haven't seen it. It still ain't come up off the bottom, and it's only a rod length in front of me or so. And then it suddenly popped up off the bottom. I see this big set of wrinkly shoulders come up, and that's when the legs started going. I sort of shit myself a little bit. And I'm thinking, this is the one, after all this time. And then, at sort of first chance, it's had a gulp of air and it's just given up on me, and just scooped it up. And I thought, look down in the net and just see the width on its shoulders, and this is a good size, this one now. Well then, boys and girls, that didn't take long. Only gone and got the big one in the net, haven't we? Bit.